Now, talking about some tips. So in December, I experienced something that most out-of-state owners are afraid of: rents that are not being received. So during last 2010, I was really busy. A lot of classes, tennis classes were going on, and I would get the statement and I would look at it, and I was just like, I don't understand exactly the statements. Now there's a few reasons why. It's because when you have one of my duplexes, when you have a duplex and they're sharing certain common electricity, all of a sudden it's very hard to allocate who's paying for what. Uh, also, let me go back to be more clear. One of the issues that you need to ask your property managers, from what I've learned, when you get a duplex or single family, is how are the utilities paid? Are the utilities in your name, and then or the property management company name, and then you have to pay it, and then they bill it to the customer, the tenant, and then the tenant pays it back. And if you think about it, that's going to be almost like a 2.5 month delay, basically 3 months, because the month passes, then they get the bill, they bill you, that's 1 month later, then they bill the tenant, and then you have to wait for the tenant to pay you. And then it kind of gets in murky water, because who's responsible for it? If it's not rent that's being behind, does that mean you can't really evict them for it? Is there late fees for it? So make sure to ask the landlord about that. And what are the policies in general for them to pay that utility bill? So that's like kind of the tip that I learned, is utilities can be a very delicate thing, or it can really make your accounting and bookkeeping a lot more complicated. In addition, it's really important now regarding property managers, is that it's very easy to get into property management and you can start seeing a cash flow, but it does take up a lot of time, and I respect what property managers have to do. Some property managers, they may not have the operations, although they may have other sides of the skill set very there, but their operations and their bookkeeping may not be there, which means that maybe their paperwork is all paper oriented, and it's very hard for them to pull up files. If it's not computer based, and it takes so long to answer a question, then, and if you think about it, if they have more than 100 units and they get an average of 10 questions a day, they're being swamped with simple questions that can be solved if they had maybe a digital or slightly more efficient paperwork system. So basically my point is property managers get swamped very easily, and although they may be great and they sound great, if their paperwork system is slow, they may be getting back to you very slowly. In addition, you need to make sure that their accounting and bookkeeping is very accurate. They may have a very nice ledger system, but if they don't know the sound fundamentals of maybe debits and credits, and in my situation, I had where at times something didn't work out because the account was transferred over. They feel like I'm being a little spacey here. I have to be more. Debits and credits. So if it didn't balance out because of so many different things coming in at different times, it was just manually changed, which kind of threw off everything, but it kind of instantly made it okay in my property manager's side. So that is not good. Everything should be exactly accounting according to bookkeeping standards, and then that mistake, if I didn't have my assistant find that, I would have probably lost another $40 in utility bills that I had to pay. So this has been the section about utility bills, and it being very challenging bookkeeping wise if you're sort of in charge of paying it. One thing you should always ask is, if a utility bill isn't paid, does it follow you as the landlord, or does it follow the tenant? A lot of the times it follows the tenant, so it's really not a problem, especially for single family properties. But for certain things, I think for me in Pittsburgh, I'm gonna just think for a second. Think it is I think it's a water bill. One of the bills, it follows the property. There's a lien on it. I think it's a water bill. So that's why we put it in our name, because we want to make sure it gets paid on time and we can keep track of it. But that really has created huge amounts of extra bookkeeping work. So those are some tips about property management, as property managing property when you're out of state and working with your property manager. Well, this has been another video blog, and I hope to talk to you soon, and feel free to leave your comments. Hopefully I'll see you in Las Vegas at one of the upcoming real estate workshop.